previous work done by previous men to build something, and now we get to use it. We get the benefit of that. That's part of the inertia or the legacy systems that keep things running. And we now take it for granted. But reproducing that would be very difficult. And we see how difficult it is when a big hurricane comes through and destroys a couple states worth of electrical infrastructure. It takes a humongous effort to put it back in. Yeah, they'll get it going in weeks, months, but they still have years worth of work to actually tidy things up and get it back into good shape. But you're going to find things that were neglected, like they didn't keep this right of way cleared. Trees fell over, poles got old and just broke off because they were rotten. It takes a lot of effort to keep things going. You have to keep putting energy in.
Like
Energy,
foundations
work,
to a house
effort.
and like foundations to property. Buildings and houses. You got to upkeep, make sure the foundations are sound.
You got to make sure
Yeah,
that
well, the foundation is going to last as long as you keep heat in the house.
Mm-hmm. And you need to keep like invasive plant species away that could crack the foundation.
I mean, driving through rural North Dakota, there's a lot of farmhouses out in the middle of nowhere, haven't been lived in for 40 years. Okay, what happens? Oh, it hasn't had heat in it, obviously. So the soil pushes the foundation in. The thing starts leaning from the wind, and it's just not occupied, not maintained. And it doesn't take that long before it's unlivable. It might stand for another 20 years, but eventually the wind blows and it will blow it down.
Yeah. You have to maintain one of the problems that I've been wondering about is, are we putting in an enormous, so we had these decades of just expansion and things getting easier to maintain, and and things were built to last. You didn't have to maintain them that much. So, but what I've noticed is that we have spent a lot more, particularly in the past 10 years, time and money maintaining existing things. And that could be, well, it just has a designed lifespan, like cars or refrigerators. They're designed to get you X number of years out of them, and you've got to replace them. And some of them, that's more of a money problem than a time problem. But with houses, the building codes are significantly stricter. I had earlier this year, I had a problem with my electrical system where the thing was tripping too much. And it's this newfangled arc fault circuit interrupter, AFCI, and it's super sensitive. And if it trips too many times, even if it's a spurious trip, you have to replace it. Okay, it means I got to turn the electricity off to the house. I got to, open the panel up, figure out which one's replaced. It's not particularly expensive. Just takes time out of my day that I could have been doing other things.
Well, the more complex systems get, the more difficult they are to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A perfect example is cars.
Yes.
Cars.
Don't get me started.
In about, I don't know, 90s, early 2000s, were just at the peak of their reliability, because it was a technology of the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, just tweaked, perfect, not reinvented, not tons of computers, just enough. And, they'd added the reliable fuel injection and stuff like that and upgraded things. Man, some of those were just perfect.
Bulletproof.
Bulletproof. And now, especially post-COVID, now they got so much computerized stuff in there They got screens. You don't have, your heater controls used to be a slider or a knob. No, now it's all incorporated. So if something goes wrong, it's not, it's messed up. It's not a mechanical linkage that, you know what, I move this bar and it just works. And it'll work for 20, 30 years that way.
Steve?
New cars are not that way. And Plutarch is now going to talk on this.
Yes, because I am a
My
car
topic
guy.
too. I sold cars, so I know all about.
Yeah.
I've been in the car industry since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And of course, my dad's been in the car industry since he was a young man. And so I grew up in it. And what he would tell you is that the primary cause of the problems with cars is, yes, the computers are part of it. I had a 96 Honda Accord that some kid smashed into while he was texting. Oh, I loved that car, and he totaled it out. That was not a good day for me. But it had the manual sliders and knobs that Steve is talking about, but it also had the emissions control computers and all of that. And this car was bulletproof. What has happened, particularly over the last 20 years, is the government has come up with new safety regulations every year.
Yes, don't get me started.
We have added thousands of pounds of safety features to cars. Well, that actually has a very negative effect. Well, on money, but also on the maintenance of your car, because your car now has to carry all of that weight around, which means your suspension is being worked harder. It means your brakes are being worked harder. It means your engine is being worked harder to bring it all that weight up to speed. You guys, we have to do more maintenance, more money, and all the computers, the tech, we think of, and this is a big diatribe of mine, so sorry, Steve, I have to do this. Automotive technicians are consistently rated by women on dating apps as the least desirable men on the apps. The automotive technicians that I know, they are computer programmers. And I mean that in a literal sense. They hook up computers to your car and they program it. They tell it to do things. These guys have IQs of 120 plus. I know one guy, my dad's business, probably an IQ of 130. He's the lead diagnostician there right now. Like, these are smart, intelligent dudes. Yes, you have to smell gasoline. Yes, their fingers are cracked and greasy and they don't look good. But these are solid, reliable men who just want to fix things, and they can, and they're smart.
You ever watch some of the videos of the car tuners? You bring your car to a dyno and tune it to get the maximum horsepower. You got to put a new program in it. And then they're in there and they got their screen and it's mapping out all the parameters and they're saying, "Oh, right here, we can do this." I mean, those guys are brilliant because they're tuning each individual car. And one of my favorite channels, he took Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Ooh, good tuner.
Which came with, I don't know, 150-ish, 160 horsepower original. Did a couple mods to it, nothing extreme. They tuned that car, and I think it had bigger injectors and whatnot. 396 wheel horsepower.
Damn. I love it.
No, hey, you have to have some brains to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, but my point was just that cars cost more to maintain because of the safety.
Right.
Go ahead, Nick.
And those safety things. And those safety things. Let me tell you. So I sold Toyota for 5 years. I sold Ford for like 5-6 months before I sold Toyota. But anyways, they come up with all these like pre-collision systems, adapters, lane change assist, all these freaking sensors that if you bump, they're going to cost you a whole crap ton of money to repair. Oh yeah, you can't just replace your glass anymore for like $100, $200. No, you have to get the right type of glass, have it calibrated, and all this other crap for the stupid ass sensors. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Oh, and by the way, all your big computer screens, how often do you have to replace your own screens and computers?
My desktop, they're about a 4-year cycle.
Oh, yeah. And how much are these screens in these cars? Thousands of dollars.
Well, they're bespoke. They're custom designed for the car.
They're thousands of dollars to replace.
Yeah. And
You have all these features, but it's like, do I really want to pay for that crap? No.
do I want to pay in the future for that crap? Do I want to pay for the car to be
No.
able to carry around all that crap? Because
No.
computer screens they're not lightweight. They're a computer screen that is designed to handle the shocks of a car. Cars have vibrations. It's not the same thing as your iPad. If you actually put an iPad screen in a car, it'll be dead in 6 months. You have to build tougher stuff, and that
So-
adds to the money and time.
This is just another example of inertia. You buy a new car, it works today.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna work for a few years, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna start to have problems. Oh, what else happened? A few years ago, BMW and I think Mercedes and others got this idea. Oh, oil is so much better. We can go 15,000 miles between oil changes.
No, wrong.
Don't do it.
And what?
Don't do it.
Yeah, that was what they said, and it was
Mm-mm.
covered under warranty. What happened to those vehicles, Plutarch?
The BMWs, I think the oil ended up sludging up and destroying. They started eating the engines, if I recall correctly. The oil sludges, guys. If you if you don't replace it, it turns into mud in your engine, and then the mud starts grinding away at the metal components, and eventually it
Well-
escapes.
Metal comes off your engine into the oil.
Yep.
And there's detergents to keep it emulsified, and
Yep.
just magnets in your plug to keep it out of there. But metal is an abrasive, and if you don't change your oil, it's too full of the crap.
Yep.
And it's not going to lubricate. And yep, that's it. So, our modern world, things requires maintenance.
My dad uses the word entropy, and I like that word. All physical objects require maintenance of some form. They're all going to have different maintenance schedules based on their specific, like an engine has reciprocating parts. It's going to have a tighter maintenance schedule than a steel tower that carries high voltage electrical lines, but both have maintenance schedules.